Ready to start your journey? Whether it's your first workout or you are a seasoned athlete, Endurance for Everyone Coaching wants to work with you. Our coaching team has worked with athletes from beginners to USAT national qualifiers and are comprised of experienced runners, cyclists, and triathletes who have a passion for healthy living and have been where you are. We offer comprehensive coaching programs from weekly support to basic consultation, all designed to help you achieve your goals. If you want to take your performance to the next level, look no further than Endurance for Everyone Coaching. Go to www.teamE4E.com and click on the coaching link or send an email to teamE4E@enduranceforeveryone.com. And let's get started.
Welcome to this week's Endurance for Everyone podcast.
Is for entertainment purposes only. Though the hosts of this show are certified Ironman coaches, their attempts at long-course triathlons and endurance events should not be taken as an endorsement for you to do something stupid too. You should make your own bad decisions, then podcast about it. Now, let's start the show.
So, welcome to episode 182 of the Endurance for Everyone podcast. I know it's been a while, but we got Pete D'Amico from the No Fear Project on the other side. How are you doing, Pete?
I'm doing great, John. How about you?
I'm doing good. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I've tried to do this a few times, and the internet here where I moved, I realized that I have not done a podcast since I moved in February.
See, that's way too long.
So, yeah, but we tried it a couple of times, and I just kept losing connections, and the internet here is not very good. The Wi-Fi is not very good, so it kept dropping, and I just kind of gave up on it after a while, and then all the other mess started happening. It's been a while. So.
Did you take it as like the universe telling you not to podcast?
Maybe so. I was just thinking, this is just a sign from God.
Because we all know your views on that. So.
Oh yeah. I'm not silent about that stuff.
Well, I'm excited, man, because I you on your posts and stuff in the group have really shared your journey, and I'm super excited to kind of learn more about it and catch up.
Yeah, and just catch up. So I guess I have to start by asking how you guys holding up there. I haven't heard a lot of bad things about Illinois, so I don't even know what's going on up there.
I think we've weathered the storm fairly well, although, I say that, and I think we've got the third most cases and, a lot of deaths. But as it is in other metro areas, it's really concentrated around Chicago.
Yeah.
The Collier County's got a little bit of it, of course. But when you get downstate, like where my older kids live, there's practically nothing.
Nothing,
so,
right. Yeah.
I think overall it's been pretty good in the area. I say that with trepidation, though, because you never know when it'll change.
Exactly right. You never know. And that's the scary thing of it. And even with the, I'm lucky, I think you are probably too, that, I've been able to work from home, and they sent me home really early, like March 16th, I think we were sent home, and thinking it was going to be a couple weeks, Yeah. So I didn't bring anything with me. I just my work laptop, and of course I'm used to two big 32-inch monitors at my office, and now I'm like on this little laptop trying to do, if you're techie, Visio and do all these data mappings and stuff like that, and on this little laptop it just was not working.
Yeah, that's definitely not fun.
Yeah.
And, we're opening here in Illinois. Chicago's going to lag a little bit, but we're opening to outdoor seating this weekend, and daycares reopen next week.
Yeah, I saw your post about that, about your kids going back, right?
Yeah,
that would scare the hell out of me. I'll be honest, that would scare the hell out of me. But
look, it's not an easy decision.
Yeah,
I think we're doing it as a sign that we believe that the facility she's in will do all the right things. That doesn't mean, look, nothing's 100%. So something could happen. We're hopeful that it won't. And honestly, there's a little bit of that kind of trust factor and maybe just try to be a leader. We pulled her out of there. So here's the irony.
Mm-hmm.
We pulled her out of there before they shut down the daycares.
Oh,
weeks
really?
before they did. So we're sending her back at the beginning, and I don't know.
Well, again, I mean, it's got to be your decision. You know, everybody has their own issues, you know, and their own way of making that decision. You know, I don't have young kids anymore. I don't know what I would decide, but like I said, my roommate's a teacher, so you know, there's always that discussion now about in the fall what happens. Are they going to go back to school? Is DeSantis is the governor here? You know, as we call him, Baby Trump, but you know, he's saying that he wants school to start, but we don't know how that's going to be. I mean, how you're going to have teachers in masks, you're going to have kids in masks, you're going to have, you know, 12 kids in a classroom versus 28 kids in a class, things like, you know, what's going to happen. So it's very much up in the air. Disney's opening, I guess, in 2 weeks, and that would be scary enough for me. Just Disney being open scares me. But
yeah, nothing here is easy with any of these decisions, and in the end, we don't know. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure why we're so afraid of the words "I don't know." I think we kind of trust that we should know everything by now.
Right. Yeah.
We don't, and it's going to be a while. So it's a virus, and you know, hopefully we learn a lot on how to handle the next one, because unfortunately I think that there will be a next one.
There's going to be a next one. There always is. And it'll probably be some form of this one. You know, it's going to mutate and it's going to change. And, you know, I just don't think it's ever going to be the same as it was. I mean, that's, I know, a bad way of looking at it, but I just think the world is going to change permanently in some way.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think it has. And I think that as I've been saying a few times on different, you know, podcasts and posts, I think that we're actually, if you look at this a different way, that we can't take away from the tragedy that it's caused in terms of human life. That's horrendous. And we don't ever want to see that again. What we've got to do, though, is learn from it and then take it as a license to be creative and kind as much as we can.
Absolutely.
And that's where I'm trying to look at it. I'm not trying to downplay the tragedy at all, but I'm trying to find what's the positive out of this. How did we get creative as a society to get through it? And then can we just get a little bit more kindness to everybody? That would be awesome.
I don't even know if that's, I mean, as bad as it sounds, I'm not even sure that's even possible anymore. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen to get everybody on the same page with that, but it starts
with us.
It's sad, right? I mean, we have to do it at our level, and hopefully it moves up. But you almost have like our level, you know, with that crap going on in Minnesota. Most people, know the right things to do. It's like even when I was watching that, I don't want to get too political, but even when I'm watching the CNN reporter getting arrested. You know, I'm looking at my roommate and I'm saying, you know, I'm looking at Karen and saying, you know, that cop that had to do that arrest knows this is crap. And I feel for them because they're being told to do something and they're doing it, you know, knowing it's wrong the whole time, you know, and they're just having to do this. And the normal people know better. And it seems like there's all this middle BS going on. Then you have the people on, you know, down here with us that kind of know what to do and know the right things. And you have these people up at the top that are just fanning these things. And I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's where social media can be horrendous, right? Because it fans flames of all kinds of not being kind. I mean, this isn't really, you know, a topic I thought we would be discussing, but I think
but it's kind of hard to get around it.
Yeah, it's extremely important. I mean, what's happened in Minnesota it's gross. It's disgusting. It should never happen. I don't understand how that's political ever.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense to me. That's just, that's a human being.
Yeah, it's wrong. Yeah.
And George Floyd, he has a name. It's George Floyd.
Right.
And, it's hopefully
wrong.
Something that we can learn from it. And I don't know if this is better because it happened during the pandemic in terms of like visibility.
Yeah.
Or if it's worse. I don't know. I mean, I've stayed off social media as much as I can. Mm-hmm. I look at some groups.
Yeah.
Our groups, basically.
Yeah.
But I just stay away from people's posts.
I try, but sometimes someone says something so ridiculous I can't help myself.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
And I usually just, it's like sometimes you just have to throw a grenade and run. So I'll say something, then I'll look at it again. But it was whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, where's the positive side is we've all gotten to work from home for a while, so that's kind of nice.
And it's showing that all these companies that were resisting the work from home movement it's showing them that it does work. People can do this. A lot of people can do this, and it lowers your costs. Now we have here. I work at County Center, which is downtown. There's 3,000 plus people in there. Well, more than 60-70% of us are working from home now. Do you need that big building? Can you go to a smaller footprint? Can you save money that way, which provides more money, less taxpayer money, things like that. It's like, I think that's one of the positives out of this. It's kind of showing that it can be done like this. People can work from home and still be productive, actually more productive. So,
yeah, I wouldn't want to work for like WeWork or a commercial real estate company right now.
You're right. Oh no, because that's going
to be a little dangerous.
It's going to tank. Yeah. Because, well, and even when we were talking about, I was talking to my boss about, like, is there any plan to go back? It's not the floor I'm on, because we're all more than 6 feet apart in our offices and in our cubes and stuff like that. So it's the elevators to get to the floor. Now you're packing 3,000 people into 4 elevators every morning and every day. And that's where the issue is,
Yeah.
Once you get to the floor, you're fine. Take the stairs, 25 floors,
Right.
So that ain't going to happen. So here's your workout for the day.
Have you found yourself working more or less from home, or about the same?
Working about the same, maybe a little more, but at weird intervals, It's like,
yeah.
Even when I was, in the office, God, I hope my boss doesn't listen to this, but, even in the office, I work in spurts. That's how I work. I do a lot of work in like an hour or 2 hours, then I kind of don't, I kind of slack off for a while, but I get a lot done in that little bit of productivity time. Well, when you're at home, you can get up, you can go in the living room, you can turn on the news, things like that. There's a lot else going on. So I think, but then, you can jump on the computer. It's right there at 9:00 at night, and whereas that's where I think the burnout will come, is that you're not really, when you're in an office, you can escape the office and go home. But when you're working from home, your office is there all the time. You're not really escaping from anything.
Yeah, especially if you don't designate a spot. Like,
yeah,
Gretchen famously works from home and just does it on the couch or
from
in
the
a chair.
couch.
Like,
I don't know how anybody does that.
Yeah, and so she never escapes it, and she works all the time.
And she's a finance person too, right? Doesn't she do like finance? Yeah. So that's kind of the same thing I do. I mean, I do data analytics, so I don't know how she focuses, sitting on the couch. I couldn't do it. But my boss does it. She says she sits on her couch and does it. So I don't know how you do that.
John, I can tell you from experience that she can tune anything out. It may just be me, but I'm pretty sure it's anything.
I think it might be just you.
It might be. Pretty sure it is. All right. Well, it sounds like also, though, but you've been tackling your health a lot.
Yeah, I had to get to a point. Well, well, you've been on the pages, so but people that just listen to this that don't see the pages, is that I did lose my mom in April, and they did end up reclassifying it to a COVID-related death, which we knew, when it happened, because it came out of the blue. It was her lung, not to get too graphic, but her lungs filled up like immediately, and she had enough time to call out to my brother and his girlfriend who were staying there. My mother's was blind, by the way. And she had enough time to call out to them. They got to her, and she said, she looked at my brother's girlfriend and said, I don't want to die. I'm scared. And then she just collapsed. So, but she ended up, she had a heart attack because her lungs filled up, and then, that's how it happens. You have a heart attack from that. So, it just sounded like it to us. And that was in April 2nd. So kind of in the beginnings of it, and we were all like, it just sounds like it. But once you pass, they don't test for it, I guess. So I guess what has happened is in Florida, at least, is that anything like pneumonia related or anything like lung related, they're putting on the death certificates, possible COVID relation, So they're not calling it COVID, so they don't have to report the numbers. That's that political thing again. But, they are at least identifying it as a possibility. So, but when that happened, the stress of that and just having to deal with everything from across the state, not being able to get there because we were on lockdown, and, my weight started going up,
Yeah.
And before I knew it, I was like pushing 280 again. And just had to do something different, I think. And my roommate had been doing something before that had worked, so she kind of mentioned it to me, and I looked into it. And like I told you before, I don't want to come across like I'm selling anything, so I'll just tell you what how it is. But I was basically at the point that I was willing to try anything at this point, just to get back in line. And so it's basically you set like what they call fueling times or eating times, throughout the day, about every 2 to 3 hours apart. So you have these smaller 100 to 120 calorie meals throughout the day, every couple hours, every 2 to 3 hours. And then you have what they call lean and green, which is the main meal, which is one you make. Which is basically, just like everything else, no sugar, no grains are in it, no, really sugar. The only carbs that are in it are natural carbs. So, you kind of stick to this plan. And, so I eat at 8, 11:30, 1:30, 4, 6:30, and 9. And,
wow. Okay.
And I said, okay, it felt like it was eating a lot to me because I don't normally eat like that. But I tell you, the first week I dropped 8 pounds, the first week. And sticking to it, like there were times, like especially the 9 o'clock when I wasn't hungry, but I just went ahead and did it anyway, had something anyway. Dropped 8 pounds, dropped, I think about 4 or 5 the second week. Even the health coach I'm working with is like saying, wow, you're dropping fast. So it was, in the normal process during this what they call the first phase, is they don't want you working out. Well, that's not going to happen. I have to. They really want you to get down to and we all know the science. The more if you train, you go out for a long run, you get hungry, you need more calories, you need more fuel to do those things. But reading through their literature and stuff like that, that's for people who aren't already active. I was already active. So I did pull back a little bit. I'm not doing it every day, but I'm still getting three to 4 trainings in a week. And right now I'm at about 22 pounds down in just a little over a month. So
okay.
It does work, so.
Yeah. And I guess that I'm super curious about this because I would argue that anything you do diet wise, right? Like, right. Or plan wise is going to work for the first 30 days.
Right. That's it. Right. Exactly right.
So now
we start seeing.
Now you start to really see it. Cause like that 8 pounds that first week, that was probably inflammation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even probably half the second week, would have gotten for somebody your size. For you, it's a really big pivot.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
From NSNG.
Yes. I mean, like I said, it's kind of, you're still eating no grains. There's no grains allowed, so it's kind of, it's all basically the same, it's the manner of which you eat. I was normally eating, 3 times a day, and usually not even eating breakfast. So I would eat 2 times a day, but bigger meals. A lot of this is that not only is it more eating, but it's more, portion control. So even when you're doing that lean and green meal that you're making yourself, you're still limited to how, he always tells me you got to use that scale because you can't eat 16-ounce steaks, things like that, or you can, but you shouldn't. So depending on what type of meat it is or what kind of protein it is, it will tell you how much you can have. Like some fish you can have up to 7 ounces, which is a lot. 7 ounces of shrimp is more than I thought. But I'm not. There are times when I'm hungry, things like that, because you rev up that engine in the morning, putting food in my system, I get hungry. But I mean, even a few days where I wasn't exactly 100%, I mean, I still if not losing, I've maintained one day to the next. And of course he doesn't like the fact that I weigh every day. And I said, well, I have to because I'm anal. And, but I understand.
Data.
Right. And I told him, I said, I'm not a newbie to this. I understand weight fluctuates, so I'm not going to freak out if I gain a pound. I understand the science behind that, but so. Yeah.
I think it's interesting because, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I think it helps having somebody kind of watching it, with me. I'm normally, even when I've had a coach, I mean, they've watched what I do training wise, but they never really watch what I eat. Well, when I'm doing this, he's kind of watching what I eat too. So, and I'm always honest, if I, eat something I shouldn't, I mean, I'm always logging it. So, but he's the first one that'll call me or he'll text me and say, do we need to talk about this? For example, last Sunday I had to go to finally get together with my siblings to take care of my mom's things and stuff like that. So I had to go to Ormond, and I was talking to him before that. And I said, this will be the test because we're Italians. There's going to be food. And
yeah,
and
lots of food. I mean, that's the way you celebrate. That's the way you grieve. That's the way you connect.
So of course I walk in
pretty
there.
Pretty much any reason to eat, right?
Yeah. So I walk in there, there's spaghetti and these big ass meatballs and the salad and a friend of the family had made this banana split trifle.
Oh, that would have killed me.
I know. I could send you a picture of this
just
thing.
Taking a spoon in a corner and gone.
I know. I could easily have done that, but I was good. I mean, I didn't partake, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, and for once, I didn't get crap from my family about it. I mean, because it finally hits home that I'm the oldest one in my family now. And my mom is gone. I'm the oldest, so
wow. That's
an
a lot to deal with, brother.
That's an eye-opening moment when you're the oldest one. So yeah, oof. I mean, but I think it really goes back. And I told you that I've kind of lost a lot of people that I've shared with what I'm doing. They kind of said, yeah, I can't follow you if you're going to do this stuff, and it's fine. I don't understand that kind of thinking. I mean, I don't agree with everything everybody else does either. But I'm not going to, unfollow you for something like that or drop out of a group because of something like that. And I'm very careful about, I don't like multi-level marketing crap, so I don't want to get into that, because I'm not going to participate in that selling part of it. So that's why I don't mention what it is or what company it is or anything like that, because I don't want it to come across that I'm trying to sell it. If someone asks me a question, you may have seen it on social media, I'll say, well, we can talk about that offline, but I'm not going to do it because I'll send you that way, but I want no part of it. It's on you, So.
Are the people who are kind of leaving, I mean, that's anecdotal, right? If it's only a couple of people, right? Are they telling you why?
Yeah, it's because the one said that they were disappointed that I would eat this way or that I would fall into a program like that, But you get to a point. I'm not going to dismiss a program if I haven't tried it. There's a reason why I don't like Weight Watchers. I've tried it. There's a reason why I didn't like Noom. I tried it. And even on this program, I mean, yes, there are prepackaged stuff, and it's like you could probably do it on your own. The prepackaged stuff, there's, you could do this. There's, it's not anything you wouldn't eat normally. I find it easier because it is prepackaged, because I don't have to think about it. I don't have to prepare it and things like that. And it helps me. It's easy to go grab a packet than to have to worry about, like when I went Sunday, it was easy to throw stuff in my bag and just do it there, than to have to pre-cook something or pre-make something and put it in, that's where I get lost. That's where other programs like Weight Watchers or Noom lost me, is that it's kind of on you. And that's a weakness of mine. And I know that's a weakness of mine. And if I can find something that helps me get through that weakness, then hopefully I get to a point where it becomes a habit and I can do it on my own at some point,
Yeah.
Nothing's more motivating than seeing weight drop off you,
Right.
And he made me take pictures, at the beginning, it's the side pictures, and it was disgusting to me because when I turned to the side, it looked like it was just ridiculous. I was like, I had no idea I looked like that. In my head, I don't look like that. But then when I took the other ones a month in, it's like, yeah. Well, we're our own worst critics, right?
Yeah.
But then when I took the side ones on the next one, I saw the difference. I know the tape measure around my waist was 2 inches down. I knew that, because I had measured it, but to see it, it was kind of eye-opening, and there's nothing more motivating than that, to see the differences,
Sure.
Yeah,
so. I mean, I got a few things like in what you said. First, I could see people disconnecting from you or stop following because for so long you were NSNG.
Yeah.
And kind of, I don't know, like really, you had Vinny on several times and, you really touted it, right? So I could see if people were looking for that parrot, that they're not going to, you're not parroting that at that point.
Right.
I could see them disconnecting.
And
a couple of things
Vinny has,
sorry.
I'm sorry. Vinny has enough people parroting his stuff. He doesn't need me parroting it as well. So and I don't disagree with Vinny. I don't. I mean, I think his program works. I don't see anything wrong with it. Honestly,
right.
I have no issue with Vinny's stuff. I would still send people that way, Where I disconnected from the group was the nastiness in the group. It's like, I just can't deal with
that NSNG group?
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, and I had to get out of there because, I just don't want, you can't even ask an honest question in there without people just jumping all over you. I said, when it gets to that kind,
God forbid you're new in there.
Oh my God. People like come in there new. It's just ridiculous. And I'm not going to deal with that kind of stuff. And there's no need for that. And Vinny himself is not like that. Anna's not like that, but
not at all.
But the people they put in charge of that group are, and you can feign that it's not, it's other people's group. It's just your name, but it's your name on it, and people are going to associate your name with that. I've had that discussion with Vinny before, so you know, he doesn't agree. So that's Vinny. Vinny himself is a great guy. Every time I've talked to him, he's a great guy. So I have no issues with Vinny. Or NSNG.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I could see people disconnecting because of that. The other things that you brought up, I think, are a couple of things that I've realized more lately. Probably stuff I knew, but have kind of come to it ever since I had my issues, thinking that I had a heart issue. Thankfully, I don't. Doctor now thinks it could have been viral, and that's what was impacting my heart for a while. Who knows? Given the timing, what it could have been, we'll figure that out later. But it caused me to have to change my eating also. So also pivoting from more NSNG to more just whole foods. And I had kind of pivoted in my thought process anyway to no processed foods, the kind of hashtag MPF in my thinking. But there's two things. And the first one is fat people like us, a lot of us, we have trouble with choices.
Right.
So one of the things that you've basically done for yourself is take away choices.
Right.
And so I could see how a program works, regardless of if you eat 5 times a day or 8 times a day or 2 times a day. If choice is limited, it's going to be easier. And I think back to the time that I parroted my brother, who at one time was McRunner, who ate nothing but McDonald's leading into some marathons.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, well, I'm going to eat just McDonald's for a couple of weeks and see what happens. And I lost weight. Why? Not a lot of choices at McDonald's.
Right.
And I just ate less.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that leads me into the last thing that I thought of when you were talking, which is volume matters. It's not just calories. So here's what I mean by that. When you make adjustments, if you still sit down and you eat a giant pile of vegetables that is, looks like, Everest on your plate, maybe you only took in 400 calories, but you still ate a volume that is ridiculous.
Right.
So when you stop eating those vegetables, which will happen, you eventually are going to put a giant pile of something else on your plate that's now 1,200 calories and a huge amount of volume.
Right.
And so to me, one of the things that I've really had to adjust in my mindset is even if I'm not going to eat a perfect food, I've got to cut back on the amount I'm eating. Even if I'm going to eat a perfect food, I need to cut back on the amount that I'm eating, that volume, as well as any kind of caloric intake. Yeah. I think what you and I both are finding out is calories in, calories out counts for something.
Yeah.
But you've got to adjust other areas and mindset, or else it's just a 30-day program.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, I'm getting to that point where it'll be interesting to see how it goes from this point on, because I just crossed over that 30 days and see if it still keeps going down. I mean, it was a slight uptick today, but I expect, upticks here and there. But I mean, I haven't seen the 250s in 2 years. And when it hit 258 yesterday, I was like, well, that's great. I mean, I'm still a big guy, but, I was joking with Karen is that I have to figure out a way to tighten up this flab now because while I had so much weight on me, I'm built like my mom in a way, is that, you have the belly, but it was tight because the skin was tight on it. Now the weight's going away. The belly's sagging. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's not really, really bad, but it's like, it's enough for me to notice it. I don't like it. So, I mean, I'm finding it's easier on bike. I mean, everything's just easier. It feels easier to me now, just with a little 20-pound loss. So imagine another 20 pounds or another, my goal is like 200 pounds. I don't want to ever be 170 pounds. I don't think I could get that low without looking ridiculous, to be honest. But I think if I get to 200 pounds, I'll be fine. And, that's where I'd like to be. So we'll see how long it takes.
Yeah. Well, here's another observation I can tell you, and I don't know how you're feeling, but I can tell you in your pictures, you look more relaxed. You don't look as stressed. You don't look, I don't know, like you just kind of look like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders as well as maybe off your belly. And I don't know if that's the food and attitude. I mean, are the pictures reflecting how you're feeling?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there was a really rough time after, my mother passed, but I think since then it's kind of changed. I think there's a weird, I don't know how much you've had in your family, but, I was lucky for a long time that there was like no death in my families. I mean, I had both grandparents, I had everybody, except for my father when I was 3, and I don't remember him. So, it's inevitable for those things to start happening. And I think when this affected me more than I thought it would, I think because we couldn't prepare for it. We didn't know it was coming. Everybody else that had passed, you kind of knew it was coming, so you kind of prepare mentally. This one was like out of the blue, and I think it makes you take a step back. I was stressing out about work. And just the way things were going there, and it's like it almost gave me who cares? I'm going to do my job. If if it's not up to, if someone doesn't agree with what I did, or if it's not up to a standard, it's like, who cares? I just keep doing my job. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. Say what I think. I've always said what I thought, but if I'm not comfortable with something, I just say it. And if something, I think it was just something switched, and I think that's what's probably showing is that, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to be so scared of losing a job or losing, something like that. I'll get through it somehow. There's other things more important. The whole COVID thing, I think is, I think it's just changed my whole mental outlook on things. When, somebody, like even with the people leaving the group, a year ago, that would have I would have been fretting about that forever. It's like, trying to make everybody happy. And I got to the point where I really don't care. There's going to be people that don't agree with me, and they can not agree with me in the groups or on here or anywhere, and be civil and we can talk about it and we can agree to disagree kind of thing. But if you can't even be around somebody that you don't agree with and can't be civil about it, even when you disagree on certain things, then, I don't need you around anyway. You don't need to be in here. Right. I'm not going to have that group turn into an NSNG group where people are scared to ask questions, and I think that group has been really good. I think your group has been great that way too. It's like people are I thought they were open in my group. They were really open in yours.
Oh, yeah.
People are like, they don't, and I've put things in there I probably wouldn't have put in other places, but, I think it's good that people have a safe place that they know they're not going to be judged about it. And if anybody judges somebody in that group, they're going to be gone.
Right.
I've said that many times that I won't even give you a warning. Yes, you will not be in there anymore.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, I agree. And the No Fear Project group has been great for that, because there have been disagreements in there, and it's super civil and nobody's judgmental. Mm-hmm. And it's been pretty awesome from that perspective. And I'm wondering now, hearing you talk, I'm wondering how much impact just taking that stress out of your own life has also contributed to your weight loss, because we all know that stress causes that cortisol, and mm-hmm. cortisol causes an insulin spike. So I'm wondering how much that impacts too. And just having the mindset to do this, because it takes strength to eat better. When you're fat, it's the easy part. The easy way out is to eat crappy.
Oh yeah.
So,
it's
right.
Too easy.
So when you don't have the stress, it's a little easier on your decision-making process.
Yeah. And I know I'm going to say something. I know it's probably going to sound awful, but, I was talking to my sister about this, and my sister lives very close to where my mom lived. And a lot of the burden of that fell on her to take care of her, to make sure, like I said, she was blind, and, to get the home health aides in there. And a lot of that fell on her, the day-to-day stuff. I was paying for a lot of stuff. And this is going to sound so bad, but I think you probably know where I'm going. But that when she's not here now, that stress is gone. I don't have to, the money's not going out anymore. My sister is like, she goes, I feel awful for saying it, but I don't feel stressed anymore.
Yeah.
And it's awful. I know it's awful, but and but that has something to do with it too. And, you just, and I can let somebody else stress over me when I get old,
Well, I think what you brought up, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know it sounds bad. It's not.
Well, it's truthful.
I think it
it's
really
honest,
points
but...
out. Yeah. I think it points out, though, flaws in our system of the way that we need to care for older people, and that it's difficult, right? I mean, there's regular societal issues in there. And as we continue to age, as baby boomers continue to age, we're going to see more and more of it. And just because you say it relieves stress doesn't mean that you would take the alternative. You would take the stress and have your mom be here with you.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Right. But now that the situation has changed, you just notice how much stress was on you. I think that's basically what you're saying.
Well, and even financially, like I'm in no way into lower, well, how do I say that? It's like I make plenty of money, I make enough money to live on, but I had so much going out for so long that it always felt like I was struggling. And, since moving in here, my rent went down a little bit, but it's just, it's a nice place, and, you got the river right outside, and,
she hasn't kicked you out yet?
She hasn't kicked me out yet. I joke about that. She's sitting right behind me. She's going to laugh. I keep saying that, okay, when you kick me out, I have to have money in here. And, but I think this, I was going to say something. I totally lost my frame of thought, but, oh, well.
Well, I'm wondering, well, I'm sure it'll come back to you, but does having Karen there, that day-to-day human interaction, is that helping you too from a mental aspect?
Well, I think so. And it was weird because, I moved in mid-February, I guess. And it was like a month later, we were kind of forced 24/7,
Now I'm even more surprised she didn't kick your ass out.
Yeah, exactly. But it's gone really well. It's been it's we get along very well. So,
that's good.
There's been no issues. So, but we were kind of, before, when I first moved in, we both go to work every day. We're only like really home a few hours at night, and, I go to bed, she goes to bed, whatever. And then, you're only seeing each other a few hours, but, with this thing, you kind of crank, you're forced in. And it was interesting to see how that was going to work, And plus, we're both working, so it's not like we're both just sitting around doing nothing. We're both working. So it's interesting. I learned a lot about the teaching profession. I don't know how they do it.
I don't know either.
I have no idea. I just to listen in on some of these Zoom calls with these kids, it's like, oh my God, how do you do that?
Well, John, as we all know, kids are awful. That's what we've learned.
And we're allowed to say that.
They are the best and the worst all at the same time.
There's someone said, oh God, who was it? It was a comedian or someone said, you're allowed to say your own kids are assholes. You're allowed, because they are sometimes.
And see, truth be told, my kids are crazy good. Like, they definitely do not take after their father. They're so good. But teachers are saints.
They are.
That's what I've decided.
She'll get off a call and I'll look at her and say, I don't know how you deal with that. That would have driven me bonkers. Just, eyes on your own, eyes front, look at me, things like that. So, and to do it over, Zoom is challenging, even because you are relying on parents at that point too, a lot.
Yeah.
I think parents are developing a whole new respect for the teachers on what they have to deal with every day. But which is good in a way, right?
Yeah. What did John Krasinski say on Some Good News? Something like, teachers should be paid $172 million a day.
A day. That's right. I think that's becoming apparent, It's like you realize, and another good thing, I guess, about this pandemic is that you realize who the real essential people are that you never would have thought about before.
Yeah. I mean, people that have put themselves out there to make sure that we can keep moving as a society is unbelievable. It became quite
apparent very quickly that I am not an essential person in this world. So,
Yeah, me too. But I kind of already knew that going into this. But...
Yeah, you kind of like thought that, but this is like made it really clear.
Right.
We could do without you.
Yes. Yeah, very, very easily. You just go sit over there and shut it.
Go sit over there and write a training plan every once in a while.
Yeah. So how is the training going? I mean, I know that you're not doing as much, but how is it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I haven't run as much as before, and doing a lot more. Oh yeah, I guess I can. I signed up for things I never thought I'd sign up for, and I have to blame Karen for it. I'm blaming
# blame Karen.
# blame Karen. So I signed up for as part of a 4-person relay called Swim for Alligator Lighthouse, which is it's an ocean. It's down in Isla Morada, Florida, which is down in the Keys. And there's a lighthouse, I guess, called Alligator Lighthouse. I don't know. This is a swimmer thing. And it's 8 miles, 4 miles out, 4 miles back. I said, when they first brought it, I was like, there's no way I can swim 8 miles. But it's a 4-person relay. So you have to be, so I'm doing with Karen and our friend Shelly and another guy, Robert Baldwin. And you don't have any set amount that you have to swim. So obviously Karen's going to swim 7.2 miles. She's just laughing at that. So I'll swim maybe a quarter, but you have to be, your team has to be in kayaks as well. So one person's in the water, 3 people in kayaks, or one double kayak and one single kayak. And you have to get in and out of the kayak mid-swim. So when your time's up, you have to get in the kayak. The other person gets in water and swims. That's the part that scares me the most.
Yeah, 2 nights ago, I had this exact nightmare.
Really?
This sounds awful.
Getting in a kayak.
Swimming in open water, kayaks, this is terrible to me.
I know. And so I keep looking at her saying, the kayak scares the hell out of me. I don't know, because I'm picturing this big manatee looking guy trying to flop onto a kayak in the middle of the ocean.
Stop making me do tricks to get into the kayak.
Stop making me do tricks. Yeah. So, and you're talking to a guy who's never been in a kayak. I've never rode a kayak. I've never done it before in my life. So I'm trying to find one to buy, because we got the river right here. I mean, I can definitely get some time in, but I've never done this before in my life. So I'll get in the water, swim, and I'll refuse to get out. So no, I'm just going to swim the rest of the way. I don't care if it takes 10 hours.
I'll just take the anchor, that last anchor.
Yeah, or that, right? Give me the last part. I'll just row like 7 miles and swim the last one.
I might capsize this thing on the way out, but you know how to roll, right?
I'll just flop out of it. Kind of do that scuba dive backward thing.
Jokes aside, I mean, I think it's awesome that you're going outside your comfort zone, though.
Yeah,
I mean, it sounds like it's really a different mindset, period.
Yeah, I think the triathlon I was in, St. Anthony's, got canceled. So that's the one I was raising money for. And so they offered up that you can transfer your fundraising to another event. So, of course, John chooses the Disney Marathon, because why not? Right? Who cares if I only run 3 miles? I can run 26.2, right?
Right.
Just stay ahead of the balloon ladies. That's all I got to do.
That's all you got to do.
And but if, I have found I do run a couple of times a week with Shelly, and it's easier. I'm not saying it's easy, but
No,
I can already
running's
feel.
never easy.
No, I can already feel the difference, though, is that I feel like I'm a little faster, a little lighter, so if I'm feeling like that at 2:58, I mean, if I can get down to 2:30 by that point, 2:40, 2:30, it's going to be easier, so, I mean, I'm still going to hurt afterwards. I'm positive, but, I think everybody hurts after a marathon. That's just,
yeah. When is that?
January 10th, I believe it is. So hopefully, and who knows, it might not even be done by that point, but if we have a second wave or whatever come through, but as of right now, it's on. So
nice.
We'll work towards that. I have another swim race in August, a half mile, and this is a race. I'll be last, because I'm not going to try to race anything, but I'll get in the water.
Man versus himself.
Man versus, yes, right. Man versus time. And the other thing in the lighthouse is there's jellyfish, and I don't know. I've never been stung by a jellyfish, so.
I know, for something that sounds like it would be delicious,
Yeah.
jelly.
I know. It's like,
it sure is a mean little thing. Isn't
awful, right? So, yeah. So, I mean, that kind of concerns me because of the breathing issues I have. So I don't know how I'm going to react if I get stung. So, that kind of things, what is it? The chimp brain and the professor brain and the
Right.
computer brain. That's the chimp brain being afraid of something that you've never even dealt with before,
Right.
and reacting, worrying about stuff, so the professor.
Will you have a
brain
wetsuit on?
It's going to be 88 degrees. No.
Oh, so that would be a big fat no.
88 degree water. not 88 degrees in the air. So if it's 88 degree water, you can imagine what the air temperature is.
So basically just a teamE4E Speedo is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you might get the 4, the number 4. The rest of them, I can't wear a Speedo. You would think I'm wearing nothing.
Oh God.
Another
thing that sounds awful.
I know, I can't.
Man.
But we are racing under the Endurance for Everyone team.
Awesome.
So they kind of like agreed to do that with me. So let me have the team name. So
beautiful.
So should be good. Are you training at all?
Yeah. I'm running mostly, and not as much as I would like, but I'm definitely getting back into it. I've got virtual races coming up.
Yeah.
One of them called the Untrained Ultra. I don't know if you saw this.
I did see it. Yeah, I did see that.
Benefits bigger than the trail.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. You run 1 mile, 5K, 10K, 15K, and a half marathon over a 5-day span or less, and submit those times.
Yikes.
So just kind of back to back to back to back, or some people are doing it all in one day.
Yeah, because they're nuts. Those are people we hate.
I'm going to do a 50K actually right after that virtual, but I'm going to take my time. And then
you're going to have support? Are you going to do it unsupported, or is Gretchen going to
I'll just have my car and a loop. And,
okay. I got you.
A bunch of stuff, loaded up.
Way to do it.
Yeah. Somebody might come out and run a few miles with me, but overall.
It's too bad I'm not closer. I'd do it.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be fun. And then I've got the Badger trail races August 1. That's the 50K that I'm really hoping that, we could have some fun on the trail with that.
Yeah.
And then I signed up for, you're getting it here before I put it on my own show, John. Look at that. 60K in Arizona in mid-February. The Black Canyon. 60K.
Sounds cool. Oh, where in Arizona is that?
Kind of the Phoenix area, Phoenix, Scottsdale area. It's about an hour, I know, from where my parents are in Scottsdale.
So 60K is about 26 miles?
No, 37.
37 miles, yeah.
Yeah. Ish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
Ish. That ish.
Yeah. So it's
ish that gets you.
A lot of, it's a lot of downhill and some uphill and trails and single track, and
it might be fun though.
It'll be fun. It's put on by Aravipa, so Jamil Corey. I mean, so it's definitely going to be a quality event. I hope it happens.
I hope
really
it happens.
do.
Yeah. Well, February, who knows? That's kind of the up in the air thing. You never know. Right. So you just pay your money and hope for the best. I did sign up for a virtual. It's called Florida Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
It's an actual ride, but but now they're doing it virtually. So it's basically from the Cape to Claremont, which is 125 miles, and then Claremont to Tampa or St. Pete, which is another 125. So 250 miles. But you have, so the first section, 125 miles, you have all of June to kind of get that in. And then you have all of July for the second part. And normally it's like a 2 or 3 day event. So they're giving you a whole month. But it's like I was telling Cindy online, it's only like 4 miles a day. If you do a 20-mile ride, you've knocked out a week.
Right.
Of it. So, I mean, it's kind of, I think it's important. I think a few of my clients actually say this, is that without a race in front of you, it's very hard to stay motivated. And I've always been like that. It's very hard to stay motivated without something that you're working towards.
Yeah.
Like when St. A's got canceled, I mean, I saw my motivation go right down the tube. So it took a while to get back into it.
Yeah, I think most people are like that. I finally come to the point where I just enjoy being outdoors, running, hiking. I mean, I got to be honest. If I could just go hike forever, I think I'd do that. I love trails and just being out there. It's just where I prefer to be. And it's funny because I'm not really an outdoor person, or like I don't like to camp. So I don't know if I could ever do like an epic trail.
Yeah.
But maybe I could learn to, because I really do enjoy just staying within yourself. It's so zen to me in a way.
Well, the outdoors is like that. when I used to do those with Nancy, is like you find the outdoors is just calming to me. You know, I don't think I'll ever get to the point that I enjoy running, but I would find myself doing that if I went out to Starkey and did like the 6 mile loop at Starkey. It's like I'd find myself walking more because I just get lost in being out there.
Yeah.
You know, I forget that I'm like supposed to be running. You know, biking. I love biking. You know, I can bike. So, and swimming, it's a calming thing. I find out the idea of racing it while swimming is weird to me, just because, except for in a triathlon, of course, but the idea of doing a swim race is weird to me because I've never really had to do that. I've never done that. So I tend to like calm, like get in a Zen part and swimming and just swim.
Right.
So to push in a swim is an odd concept.
Yeah.
For me.
Well, it's good to push outside the comfort zone. So
yeah, so
that's great. Yeah.
So as the relay, they're all better than me. Karen has been swimming since she was a kid, and Shelly is one of these people that can just swim forever. She does marathon swims, things like that. So, and Robert's faster than I am. He's built kind of like me, about the same age, but a stronger swimmer than I am. So, I'm definitely the weak link in that relay, but they know that.
I'm used to being the weak link thing, so I feel for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that always bothers me about, like, I've kind of stayed away from relays in other events before because of that, because I know I'm the weak link there in most things. So maybe not biking. I can cycle, but if I ever
I'm
did
downhill, I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, I fly downhill. It's like I was telling somebody, we were talking about Tahoe when I did the America's Most Beautiful Bike Ride in Tahoe. Getting up that damn hill was awful, or that mountain was awful. But coming down it, I was doing 60 miles an hour. I just tucked in and just rode it down. So scary as hell doing that on a bike.
Finally, my weight comes in handy.
Exactly. And I tell people, this is when it pays to be fat, because I just fly by people then. But so
awesome, brother.
All right. So thanks a lot for coming on. I had to tell, I mentioned Karen Clark. I'd message her and say, hey, I'm doing a show. I don't want you to think that you're being replaced. She goes, no, I'm just happy to fill in when you need me. She goes, just glad to get a show out there. I'm
sure people that are listening are way disappointed it was me, not Karen, but they'll just have to deal with it for one show.
It's free.
It's free. That's right.
So, but I thank you. Make sure if anybody listening to this doesn't know of your podcast, to make sure they go to the No Fear podcast. No Fear Project podcast. Yeah,
check out the No Fear Project on Facebook. It's a private group. Mm-hmm. Check that out. Check out the podcast for it. And then Fat Man Chronicles still going. We just did number 100.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, so Gretchen and I are still going. And the Be Better Today podcast returns on June 1st. So
you're filling up that calendar.
I figure if I just make enough content, eventually my kids will have my life story.
There you go.
That's really what it is.
That's what I tell people about mine. It's like, go read the blog. Go good to the oldest blog and just start reading. Everything's there. Yep. So, it's easier for you to read it than for me to tell you. So,
for sure. Well, I appreciate you having me on. It was good to catch up.
Yeah, Pete, and we'll talk again soon.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for listening to the Endurance for Everyone podcast. If you have comments or questions for the show, send an email to teamE4E at enduranceforeveryone.com. And remember, swim calm, bike strong, and run steady.
have a passion for healthy living and have been where you are. We offer comprehensive coaching programs from weekly support to basic consultation, all designed to help you achieve your goals. If you want to take your performance to the next level, look no further than Endurance for Everyone Coaching. Go to www.teamE4E.com and click on the coaching link or send an email to teamE4E@enduranceforeveryone.com. And let's get started.